can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right. Hey, how are we doing out there all across this great republic of ours and around the world? It is, once again, time for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, where we gather together Monday through Friday, 3 o'clock out here in the West Coast and 6 o'clock on the East Coast, to do what we do best, and that is to educate, inform, and engage you, our listening audience, on the politics of religion and the religion of politics. And we're glad to have you with us today. And if you were with us yesterday, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you got something out of our discussion on globalism versus nationalism. And that's what we're going to focus primarily on again today. Because as you know, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, that's what we do. We like to exhaust topics. We like to dig in and get under the real dirt and get into the meat of the matter in order to become more informed and better educated as to what actually is going on. And we did it yesterday by highlighting some of Barack Obama's speech at the UN, where he basically offered his defense of globalism. And much of it revolved around his agenda to fundamentally transform the United States of America and his belief that he has been relatively successful at it, and in doing so has influenced the world to jump on the bandwagon of global collectivism for the purpose of making things better for all humanity. And that was pretty much was the message. But in there was also attacks against the extremism of nationalism, meaning those like us here at the Conservative Syndicate who believe that national sovereignty is definitely a much better way and a more humane way, and actually the right way to conduct government throughout the world. Nations should be able to conduct their own government free of outside interference. Now, certainly there are things that happen around the world that can influence what goes on in a government, and government can adapt to those situations, whether economically or geopolitically or whatever. But the idea of bringing all governments together to form a single collective organization that will bring peace to the world and and perhaps bring back the unicorns, that kind of stuff. The land of chocolate drops, as Sean Penn tells us, that's what Iran is really like, and all the other gobbledygook that you hear from liberals and progressives. And so we're gonna dig into that a little bit more. And what I'm going to try to do today is I want to really get back to, or I want to try to lay something out for you. I want you to start entertaining the idea that globalists are really apolitical. They're not really politicians. Barack Obama, to me, is not a politician. He's an ideologue. He's a cultist who has been able to paint himself not even as a politician, but a pragmatic centralist, hope we can believe in and all that other crap that he's been spewing out for too many years now, even before he was elected president. But the real globalist is an opportunist, and therefore the real globalist is a capitalist in many regards. And there's different reasons why people become globalists, and I'm going to try to just wade through this cesspool today and give you some insight from things that are just becoming more and more clear to me.
Well, the number one reason they become globalists, John, is just the basic one, which is
Greed.
Greed, yes, that's certainly at the top of the list, because greed brings with it certain other aspects that they desire, and that power, recognition. In the case of Barack Obama, it's an ego thing more than anything else. Dreams from my father, that kind of crap.
He's still, look, dude, he believes in the almighty flipping dollar. He wants greed. He wants money. He wants the power that goes along with a lot of money. That's what Obama's about. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't let him fool you. He's not this great freaking altruistic guy who just cares about the world. No. He's a greedy guy.
Oh, I'm not discounting the element of greed as it plays into it. I look at Obama. See, Obama to me has the mentality of a tyrant and a dictator, and in any mindset like that, there's something. It's more about their own personal self-esteem. Now, the money and the power and the recognition, all this other stuff feeds into that for sure. But it's not like I'm going to say, use a comparison. You take somebody like a George Soros, who is probably one of the best examples of a real globalist. He stays behind the scenes for the most part, and he puts his money where he thinks his investment is going to give him return, and he makes more money off of it. And in doing so, he thinks that's giving him more power and that kind of stuff. But that's what drives somebody like a George Soros. To me, yeah, the greed and everything else, certainly that plays into the Obama character and mystique. But I personally believe it's just more about his need for self-approval, his need to have people look at him and say, wow, isn't this just the smartest man since Abraham Lincoln? Isn't this just the greatest leader since George Washington? I mean, that I think it's more of an ego thing with him. But the money and greed certainly plays in part of it, because those are things that on the list, on the checklist of what makes a person a superhuman being, this is the things that people are measured by: power, wealth, fame, influence, things like that. So he wants all that stuff because that's what makes him think that he really is God's gift to the world. And I really think that is his driving force. But
you listen to him talk, that speech at the UN, as we played some clips yesterday, nobody I know that does a speech on a regular basis pauses for 7 seconds.
Oh, yeah. You're trying to get that effect.
It's like not everybody's hanging on his every word, and you can tell by the tone, because it was, it's like he's either trying to think of himself he's the most important guy ever to utter an utterance anytime, or he's just trying to put people to sleep, one or the other.
Well, I've always thought of, when you go into a studio audience, if you've ever gone into a show where there's a studio audience, mm-hmm. and you'll have somebody that sits off to the side. They're called showrunners. Okay, and what the showrunner does is make sure that everything on the set and everything that's taking place in front of the cameras flows in a certain direction. And so you'll have the showrunners that'll have signs up there, or in some of the big, like the Letterman show, they'll have a big sign that says applause, and it lights up and it tells the audience to clap. That's kind of thing. They'll come out and tell you before the show, this is what we're looking for. We were down to see Evan Say It a couple weeks ago, and they're taping it. They taped his show down there in North Hollywood. And the showrunner came out and told us, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it, and this is what we would like you, the audience, to do to help us with this. Okay, that kind of thing. So, and so the pause thing, here's what I said that to say this. The pause thing is where it's something you're taught when you're speaking, that when you think you say something really profound, you pause to allow the audience to respond to what you're saying so that they don't miss the next words.
Yes, I get that.
Okay. And there was all these pauses where I guess he was expecting applause or something, like he was at a fundraiser for the Congressional Black Caucus or something like that. And he got some applause for some of the things he said.
Yes,
but he didn't
but a pause, a 4-second pause.
Yeah, and I get you. I understand what you're saying there, but that's all theater, because
this is 7 seconds of what are you kidding me?
But that's all part of the part of the profile that I'm talking about here of needing, feeling and needing the response of the audience to make you feel good about what it is you're saying and doing. And I really think at the end of the day, because see, I don't see Obama as a mentally stable person. I see him as a Napoleon Bonaparte type. You know, if he had buttons on his shirt, he would be sticking his hand inside that jacket there and just kind of, you know, looking down on the audience, although I imagine only Napoleon Bonaparte had to look up. But it's just that I'm here, and you know, just you, my disciples, just sit here and be quiet and listen and learn, that kind of thing. So I agree with you. But I really think the driving force behind Obama is Obama. He is the show in his own mind, as I like to say, a legend in his own mind.
Yeah, he's in there, and it's a good thing. Sometimes I think Donald Trump was in it rent free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once again, doesn't Trump gets free airtime at the expense of the liberals because we listened to it. I didn't disagree with anything he said. Anything Barack Obama said, I agreed with wholeheartedly. Yes, I do want to return to a time when there's no outside contamination. Yes, okay, I'm there.
You know what? If Trump called people coming into our nation contaminants, don't you believe somebody would have freaking freaked out?
Oh yeah. I mean,
but Obama can call that outside contamination, and everybody applauds him.
Well, I guess he used that word because deplorable had already been used. Anyway, guys, we got to go to our first break here. We'll be back and we'll get into a discussion here, the globalism versus nationalism discussion. Only as you'll hear it only here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, we're back. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And, you know, I want to touch on a couple of things that may seem just kind of not really centered around what we're talking about in terms of this globalism versus nationalism discussion that we're conducting here. But I think things like this, I don't know, there's something lately here. Is it this election cycle? I'm struggling for the words to really express it. But the only thing, the thought that comes to my mind when I think about the things that I have learned during this election cycle is that nothing, absolutely nothing, is what it appears to be. And with that kind of a mindset, I now view things that I would look at, maybe just read a headline and to go, that's not worth looking at. But I'll actually sometimes skim through the story or sometimes read it if the first couple of lines catch my attention and say, oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing something a little bit more than I normally would see in a situation like this. For instance, there's an article out there today. I'm going to just real brief on this, and then I want to talk about the shootings down in Tulsa and Charlotte for a minute, because not the shootings themselves, just some things that we can see from the latest shootings, okay? The latest reported shootings. I always want to preface that now. I wonder how many people died in Chicago between the time this Charlotte shooting took and today. You know, that kind of thing, which we never hear anything about, okay? There's an article out there, out on Reuters, and there's an image. This is I'm just going to read you the first couple of paragraphs, so I don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this. Image purported to be Michelle Obama's passport posted online. An image purported to be a scanned copy of U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama's passport was leaked online on Thursday, alongside personal emails said to belong to a low-level White House staffer who worked with Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Reuters was unable to verify the authenticity of the passport or related documents. The latest dump of sensitive material by a hacking entity U.S. intelligence officials suspect is linked to Russia. Okay? The White House on Thursday declined to comment on their validity, but spokesman Josh Earnest said the administration was taking the matter seriously. We're aware of these reports and something we're looking into, U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch said at a news conference. Now, think about this. They had a news conference to address a leaked, scanned photo of Michelle Obama's passport. Now, I'm going to tell you, who the hell cares? Right? Who the hell cares whether Michelle Obama's scanned passport picture was leaked online? One, the lady is uglier than a mud fence. Who cares? Okay, it's a passport picture. Who cares? It's not who cares. It's that this is something that can be put out in the public eye that people will get all, oh no, Somebody copied Michelle Obama's passport. So what? But it is a story that the paparazzi crowd, which is your typical liberal, the sensationalism or the idea that they want to create sensationalism with the article. It has no bearing on anything of any importance. But I bet you there are more people reading this article than there are about Barack Obama's speech to the UN, in which he supports and defends his agenda to bring the United States in line with the globalist collective ideology and belief system. Because Michelle Obama is one of the untouchables. She's one of the ones that you really can't go after Michelle Obama for anything, because she is a lady of class, the classiest lady since Jackie Onassis, some people think, and she's as smart as Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay, she's neither one of those things, but the point is, the crowd loves the image. They love the imagery, and that's what they cling to. That's why you get somebody like a Hillary Clinton as a nominee. It's the imagery of a woman who has served in the public sector for the better part of 50 years, and all that is attached to what? Her experience and her ability and her knowledge. Regardless, we don't have to look at her record to show what a dismal failure she is, not only as a public servant but as a human being. But that doesn't matter. It's the imagery. It's the projection. It's what the average liberal with the 30-second sitcom mentality takes in and processes and then spews it back out as an opinion and that kind of thing. And so I just thought it was, I wanted to mention it only because of the fact that it really isn't worthy of being mentioned, but the reason it is being mentioned is because it's a great little distractor. Let's remind everybody that Barack Obama is married to the classiest woman ever to be in the White House since Jackie Onassis. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
And just take that for what it's worth here. Now,
it's kind of funny because it got out there because a low-level staffer named Ian Muell was hacked, but his email was hacked, and he was a Hillary Clinton staffer. And I'm just looking at this report from Heavy.com on Mr. Muell, Mellul. And Paul Farrell writes, 5 fast facts you need to know about this guy. And this guy, number one fact is, the former mayor of his hometown said he is a future president. Ooh, hey, yeah. He's an accomplished magician. Ooh, except he can't do emo, right? Since the hack, Mueller has deleted most of his social media profiles. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, hold on now. And number 4, Clinton campaign staffers share hotel rooms and have to get public transport to airports. Ooh. And number 5, Mueller joins luminaries as Coleman Powell and billionaire George Soros in the latest email hack. Ooh, everybody clap.
Oh, yeah. And see, it's not about the email hack. See, there's nothing here about other than to do what? To say, we believe that, this is an extension of the Russian hacking that's been going on, and we've heard people come out, of Nancy Pelosi when her emails were hacked. What she say? Well, you can't believe what you read in terms of my emails because the Russians hacked it. That means they're putting information in there that isn't right. Misinformation. Don't listen to the email hacks. That's not it's not trustworthy because the Russians would be putting misinformation there.
So how's the Russians? Wouldn't the Russians, if the Russians were hacking it, wouldn't they call their little special group Moscow Leaks? This is disclosed by a group calling itself DC Leaks.
Yeah, Moscow Media.
Moscow Media. I don't know.
Moscowpedia. The Moscowpedia. Okay.
I'm like, so where the frickin' hell is the proof that the Russians are doing this?
Yeah, well, there isn't any, and that's the whole point. See, these are the kind of things. I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is a very good example of what I'm trying to get to, what I'm trying to lead to, is the idea that nothing that we see is as it really is. Nothing that appears to be really is what it really is. Okay, so if we sit there and we say, okay, here we go. We talk about this whole idea of the Russians hacking in the emails. Okay, what a great line. What a great counterintelligence move to sit there and now say nothing is valid because the Russians did it. Okay, here comes the Russians. Here come the Russians. And of course, I believe this. If the Russians were doing it, well, they're certainly not going to admit it because then, it would probably it would counter what it is they want to know.
Exactly. You would never know that they were doing it.
Because they're not going to tell you they're doing it.
And here, this is right out of your Reuters article here. Cybersecurity experts and U.S. intelligence officials have said the DC Leaks Group, which it says is operating in the name of anti-secrecy, is a front for a wide-ranging hacking operation by Russian government that also has breached Democratic Party. This is so much BS.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity experts and U.S. intelligence officials. Really? Are these the same officials that have been spying on American citizens themselves? Really? We're going to believe us, the Russians, now?
Well,
there's nothing about this administration's been honest since day one, and we're expected to believe this BS.
Yeah, and see this whole idea here that the globalist mentality here is all this, the DC leaks thing. Remember how quick it came out and died? It died almost as quick as it came out. They thought that at the same time they're entertaining that it was the Russians. There was the idea that the DC leaks were actually coming from people in the Clinton campaign themselves. That there were whistleblowers or insiders, moles, if you would, maybe some disgruntled employee or something like that.
That's because they take public transportation to the airport.
Yeah, because they have to share the room with the guy with the smelly socks, and they got to sit in the back of the van, and they're overweight and they can't get the seatbelt around them and everything else, and so that died in a heartbeat. It died in a heartbeat. In fact, it died at the same time one of their people, Sean Smith, died. Okay, just boom, it was gone, right? And so now they keep playing it up on this. It's this Russian thing, but the idea being is that nobody's talking about the actual leaks. Nobody's talking about the fact that the White House, the State Department, the Clinton campaign, the DNC headquarters, all these people have been hacked. Nobody's talking about the actual hacking. How is it that all these things are being hacked?
Yeah.
Okay, why is it? Because they all think like Hillary Clinton. Security, I don't know what a classified document looks like, and I don't really need virus software, and I can, run my own email wherever I want to run it and all that other kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying all the people are doing it. I'm talking about the mentality. The mentality is
this is the narrative setting up to go ahead because they're saying that it's got state election systems are being hacked. It's to make it seem so we can't trust our own election system anymore.
Yeah.
So they can just invalidate any election returns, especially if Clinton loses.
Yeah, and here's the point. We're supposed to believe that because of all these hackings that have been going on within the very government system that was designed by the government or run by the government. I don't know if the government actually designed it, but they can't keep their own security together. And now they're telling us the federal government needs to take over the election process because it might get hacked. I'm thinking, well, Jesus, you guys have been hacked on every single level in every single place. Why would we want you now to oversee this?
We should let them take over the internet.
Yeah, so you can slant the election to Hillary Clinton and tell us the Russians did it?
Yeah, exactly. This is so much, and sorry, this is not getting into our globalist point of view.
Well, it's not. Well, it is. It actually is. Believe me, there's a method to my madness here. Somewhere in the conversation, this will fit. Believe me, I just know. The point being, nothing is as it seems. Or as Franklin Roosevelt once said, nothing in politics happened by accident. See? And when you start thinking about that kind of thing, you should be able to read any single story that's out there and get something completely different out of it than what you normally would. We got to go to a break here. When we get back, we'll continue this. discussion here, and so don't go away. Don't go away.
State Talk Radio, WRS
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you, and they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. Okay, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And Joe jokingly mentioned to me, or made a comment to me at the break here, that we went down a rabbit hole. I promise you, before the show is over, you'll understand what we were talking about in context of this whole idea of globalism versus nationalism. There's many elements to this thing, and in some ways, yeah, we're kind of sounding ourselves through this as we go along, because we're like everybody else for so many years. We just thought there were certain absolutes in politics in terms of how things were being conducted. You know, I don't know about you, Joe, but I really felt and believed up until this election year that it was really, for the most part, one political party against another. And, you know, there were elements that played into it. Globalism played into it, and all this other things played, you know, communism and socialism and democracy and republicanism, you know, the ideologies and even theologies to a certain degree play into all this. But I never had such, I just feel so much clarity right now that it's really about none of those things. It's that all of those things are simply means to an end. They are instruments that are used for a common directive, if I can use the Starfleet Federation term, the common directive, okay? The prime directive. And the prime directive is world dominance by a few people, whether it be for ego, whether it be just for power, whether it be for greed, whether it be a combination of the two or all three, that kind of thing.
Global governance.
Yeah, global governance, and the lie, of course, the lie that is the common thread to all this is that it'll make the world a better place. We'll do away with nuclear arms, and we'll do away with poverty. There'll be no socioeconomic injustice. Racial division and diversity will be a thing of the past. We'll all join hands, teach the world to sing and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah, so some of the things we have to kind of keep in mind, and people need to get a little bit active about. One of them is going to be, I know they're proposing this up on Capitol Hill. In Washington, D.C., they are proposing trying to give control of the internet to foreign nationals. I don't care I don't care, foreigners, whatever you want to call them, but it won't be under U.S. control. And I'm here to tell you eventually what will happen with this. And you'll watch and see it'll end up under United Nations control. And once it becomes under United Nations control, the internet as we know it will not be in existence anymore. We, on this show, in that time frame, we would not be allowed to do what we're doing now.
Or we would be, we may be able to do it, but they would make sure that we're just talking to each other.
Well, we'd be able to do it, but it would cost us so much that we would never be able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, people need to be paying attention to what these globalists up in D.C. right now are doing.
Yeah, you know, or they could throttle the bandwidth to such a point where, you know, it's me and Joe talking to each other, maybe a couple of our family members in the living room on their iPhone, and that'll be our audience, you know, that kind of thing.
Tin can, some string, but I'm telling you right now, these people up there are trying to give up ICANN, the people that sell domain names and et cetera. Mm-hmm. That is what I'm talking about. Need to be vigilant about this. I know I sound paranoid and crazy, but I'm telling you it's the truth.
I agree. Now, let's take that thought. I'm going to take that thought. I'm going to go, because we're talking about globalism right now, believe it or not. Let's take that thought, and let's talk about that within the context of, okay, first, who would they do it? It would probably be some committee selected from the UN. And it might be, let's pick the top 5, 6 most powerful nations in the world, and we'll pick representatives from them, and we'll form another committee who will answer to other subcommittees and this, that, and the other. And, you know, maybe like the G20 summit or something like that, okay? That would be the thing. Now, let's take that now and put that in context to Hillary Clinton, who wants to regulate the constitutional amendments, because it seems only reasonable that we be able to regulate things like hate speech and gun control and stuff like that. And what's her biggest argument? The biggest thing she says when gun control. The biggest thing, her biggest argument is we need to at least be able to forbid people to buy guns who are what? On a terrorist or no-fly watch list.
Like Teddy Kennedy.
Okay, now you give the international body control over the internet. And you know what they're going to do. They're going to go out and look for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that has ever made a Facebook post about Hillary Clinton being ugly, a bitch, corrupt, crooked, or whatever.
A murderer?
Okay. Anything. There's pages, there's groups on Facebook that are strictly anti-UN. I think one of the groups I'm in, get us out of the UN.
We should.
And all they talk about is the need to separate ourselves from the UN. That would be hate speech, or that could be taken as terrorism.
So what you're saying then, John, is then the UN will take control of the internet and there'd be no such thing as free speech in the United States of America.
No, it would be policed by a body chosen to do what? To accomplish the prime directive.
Oh, by some global elites that don't live in our nation.
Okay, England, you want to pull out of the European Union? Okay, you had your little Brexit, you had your little 20 minutes of glory and fame. Now we're just going to squash you and make it impossible for your economy to function because you won't have any internet.
Sounds exactly like the EU and how the EU was being run and reason why the Brits had a Brexit vote.
So when you talk about this idea of globalism and what globalists want, see, if we were to go through here and rehash Barack Obama's speech again and just come at it from a little different angle, everything he was saying was alluding to one central thought. Everything that I have done has made the world a better place. Because everything I have done has inspired and influenced other countries to do similar things, although God knows what he's talking about there. Okay, but the point being...
Here, I'll give you an example of what he says his vision is. Here's an example of this right here. This leads me to a third thing we need to do. This is right from his speech the other day. We must reject any forms of fundamentalism or racism or a belief in ethnic superiority that makes our, here you go, traditional identities irreconcilable with modernity. Instead, we need to embrace the tolerance that results from respect of all human beings.
Right. And so who determines that?
Exactly.
Who determines what the parameters are? Okay, there's the globalist ideologue. Now, there's two categories we're talking about here. There's the globalist ideologue, which I put Barack Obama in, and that is the delusion that he can make the world into the perfect place. And in doing so, he gets the money and he gets the fame and everything else. But that's the and then there's the globalist, the capitalist, the global capitalist, the person that just wants all the bucks. Okay, and in doing so, it's the power is a fringe benefit of that. Where somebody like Barack Obama, it's the power that's more important, and the money is a fringe benefit. So these are, like I said, these are two sides of the same coin.
Well, he also gets to it, John. He gets to how you're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
In the next line, it's a truism that global integration has led to a collision of cultures, trade, migration, the internet. All these things can challenge and unsettle our most cherished identities.
Yeah, so right. So we have to have control over the dissemination of opinions and views and bring everybody into the collective ideology or theology, I think in some cases, of what? Everybody is, it's the central thought of liberalism. And in the same way, it's the central thought of republicanism, but it's just in liberal thought, it's perverted. And that is, it's all about the individual, but it's in terms of what the individual brings to the collective in terms of liberalism. And in terms of republicanism, it's what the individual brings into the world through their individuality.
There you go. Because in the other world, it's individualism, but everybody must be exactly the same.
You're allowed to, dress the way you want to dress and everything else, but your thought process and your ability to reason has to be brought into a collective way of coming to the same conclusion.
So we ought to get ready for the re-education camp if they ever take care of the internet for us, buddy. Because
we're
that's
already in re-education camps. They're called college campuses.
But I want my safe zone. Precious little snowflake, please don't. You're hurting me.
And a lesson I learned years ago when I was doing financial planning, and I spent 5-6 years working for several companies. Started out with A.O. Williams, went to Primerica, and then ended up working for Travelers Insurance Company, and I was training sales reps. And one of the things I used to ask people when they first come in, I'd say, have you ever sold insurance before? And if they said no, I said, great, you are the perfect student because I don't have to unteach you.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what our college campuses are. The term we use is indoctrination center. It's like, okay, you come into college, you're 19, 18, 19, 20-something when you come into college. You have no experience doing anything. You have no really sense of reasoning because schools teach you academics. They don't teach you application. And you come into an environment where the people teaching you have not done anything either. Okay, academics are academics. They're people that sit around studying what everybody else does, but they themselves do nothing.
Yeah,
and so then they say, well, I watched this person do that, and it had that result, so we must change that result because it wasn't favorable. So this is what we would do, but there's never any real application to it. The difference being today is that there is a certain amount of on-the-job training, and that is you get in college course, you take your sci-fi class or whatever, and your professor wants you out to go to the next anti-Trump protest. Okay, that's your OJT. We're going to tell you in here why socialism and communism is the best thing in the world. Capitalism is evil. Even though you're here to get a degree so you can go out and make a living and have wealth, that's really not the objective here. What we want you to do is to learn that wealth is evil.
Yeah, well, what they really need to do instead of sending it out to some protest, they need to send them on a little trip to, Venezuela.
Yeah, well, I think Haiti. Let's get the Clinton Foundation to ship them down to Haiti en masse. Okay? Yeah, you go down there and try to make a living. Let's put you out in the street.
See socialism in practice.
Yeah, see communism in practice. I got a better idea. Let's send them over to the Philippines and we'll hand out cardboard signs, drug dealers. We'll let the people over there take care of them. Okay. Hey, look, we got to go to a quick break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Quick mention here of our website, the conservativesyndicate.net. Check us out there. You can get this show, any archives that we have, find out what you want to know about the show, why we do what we do, and who's involved. The conservativesyndicate.net. All right, I want to get a little bit more closer, I guess maybe more articulate in the specific direction that I want to go here. You remember on this show, several weeks ago, we spent, a couple days, Joe, talking about the Mott and Bailey. Was that?
It seems like we spent decades talking about
that. And let's break that down into normal English. It would be the bait and switch. The idea that you soft sell something until such a time that you feel now you can give the hard sell. You come in and you say, you build people up, get them kind of shaking their heads, nodding their heads, and then you nail them with what it is you really want to do. And we've talked about how the meat and barley is basically the central element or the central strategy and tactics used by politicians today on both sides of the aisle. The left just a little bit better at it right now than the right, but they both use it, and especially establishment types, which really is what I'm kind of alluding to anyway, is that establishment people, real establishment people, they're not your politicians. The politicians are the players. The politicians are the employees of the establishment. Okay, the lobbyists are employees of the establishment that go and influence the other employees as to what direction they want to go. Okay, an establishment type will use lobbyists when the establishment type doesn't want to be the one to be known or recognized as the one driving the agenda. And that's what real establishment types, I bet we don't even really know who the real establishment people are. I mean, we know some of them. We got the Warren Buffetts out there and the George Soros and the Koch brothers and all the rest of them. But I bet you the big players are probably in another country somewhere, pulling strings from behind the scenes, that kind of stuff. And so this whole, that's really what we're kind of alluding to here. Now, I want to give you a case of the Mott and Bailey here. And we talked about it yesterday. I actually mentioned it the day before. The Wells Fargo thing that's going on. Okay, the Wells Fargo Bank was fined, $183 million for scams that have been going on since 2011, I believe. Actually went from 2011 to, 2013 up to 2015 maybe. My facts, I don't have them all right in front of me. I'm just trying to go with a recall here. But the point being is that over a period of a few years, employees of Wells Fargo Bank were what the term used in the investment industry is churning. They were churning accounts. And churning an account basically means that what you do is you create an account and then you turn that account over and over and over again. And each time you do, you generate a commission. You take a bank customer and you issue them a credit card. You have created another account. The credit card is actually another account. It's a credit account, okay? You open up a savings account in the name of that checking account, and you've opened up another account, okay? That's churning, and you just continue to do this kind of thing, all right? So they were caught doing it. Over 5,300 employees were fired, okay? And including a regional president, I believe somebody up in the upper echelon. But the point being is that Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas out there, on the warpath, and Hillary Clinton out there on the warpath against corporate America once again. The people that pay their campaign fees to these people, Hillary Clinton above them all, with maybe the exception of Harry Reid. I think Harry Reid is actually the largest recipient of donations, believe it or not. So I read that someplace. Anyway, the entire Congress now has got their crosshairs on Wells Fargo Bank. And in addition to that, there's another company called, I believe it's called Mylan. Let me see if I can get my notes up here.
Yeah, Mylan, they're the ones that sell the EpiPens.
Yeah, they sell the EpiPens, okay? The EpiPens, if you don't know what those are.
$500.
Yeah, if you don't know what those are emergency pens that people can use if they have an allergic reaction to something. They just stick themselves with this pen. And they're being accused by Congress, these people in Congress, of price gouging. Okay? Geez, what a concept. Price gouging in the medical field. So anyway, everybody's got their crosshairs on these guys. Now, I want to bring two things up about this. I hope I get this before the break here. So when we come back the next hour, we can really get into talking about the ideologies themselves that drive these things. What it is like it kind of works like this. They're all up in arms, Republicans and Democrats. They're all got their crosshairs on these people and these corporations. The banks have been screwing the public. The Mylan is screwing the public. Everybody, these big corporations are screwing the public, and they're not being held accountable for it. That's the big thing. And we in Congress are outraged. We're outraged. We're just this is a disgrace. I think one of them uses. This can't continue in America. This is not America. This is not who we are. We're hearing all that stuff. Well, the smokescreen is what? This has been going on. This is going on for several years. Why is it all of a sudden now front and center?
Let me see. What are we doing in about 45 days?
Yeah. See, everybody's running scared. As I said at the beginning of the show, nobody knows where this election is going to go. I don't care if you think Rush Limbaugh knows where this is going to go. You are wrong. If you think Sean Hannity knows where this is going, you are wrong. We will tell you we have no idea where it's going.
No, it's going somewhere though.
Yeah, it's going somewhere, and it's either going to be the beginning of a reformation of our republic, or we're headed to the cesspools of democracy. Okay, or socialism, whatever word or label you want to put on it. And so anyway, that's the main thing. Everybody, all of a sudden, everybody in Congress wants to, they're getting ready to go on recess. So I guess the idea is, let's take a parting shot at somebody. We got our boogeyman out there. Let's take a parting shot at them and make our constituents think that we really, really, really give a horse's patoot about what's going on in their life.
We care about the little people. We do. We really do.
Yeah. And so, nobody wants to really talk about Trump right now because they don't know if he's going to win. Nobody wants to talk about Hillary because they don't want to be called sexist. So let's pick ourselves a couple of people to pick on here, and we'll make it look to the public. Now, I'm not talking about people like Elizabeth Warren, who's just got her bitch on for everybody. Okay, she hates everybody. I don't think this woman likes anybody.
But it's phony, John. It's so damn phony. So just as soon as Wells Fargo makes a donation to the proper foundation, Elizabeth Warren's going to shut her trap up really, really fast. It'd be like, oh my goodness, it's like she got someone stepped on her toe.
Yeah. So here, but the point is, we say, well, how does this fit into globalism? Well, it fits into globalism because the banks are part of the globalist agenda or strategy to tactics. Who do you think funds globalism?
Who do you think funds Wells Fargo?
Yeah. Joe brought up yesterday, the Democratic National Convention was held at the Wells Fargo Center. Okay? I mean, it doesn't get any more obvious than that. But the idea is you turn on your friends, at least give the appearance. I don't know. I look at it this way. What we could happen is these hearings could be going on, and what's his name? Jason Chaffetz, the Republican guy that's out here just all up in arms. He could be high-fiving this guy in the restroom during break time. Hey, yeah, we put one over on him this time, didn't we? I mean, that's how ludicrous it is. But anyway, we got to go to a break here. When we come back, I'll explain this a little bit more, and we're going to get more into our discussion on globalism versus nationalism. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Time for the Edwards Notebook, and we'll pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Certain people are so focused on toppling America that they will even try to convince the world that protecting our borders is now bigoted. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, the Islamic bloc at the United Nations has joined forces with the likes of President Obama, Mrs. Clinton, Harry Reid, and all American progressives who have labeled presidential candidate Donald Trump and right-wing politicians in Europe who want to protect the sovereignty of their respective nations as xenophobes and bigots. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation also condemned the media outlets who report on Islamic terrorism. The Islamists blame the reporting on terrorism rather than the terrorism itself for causing civilized people to not to want to be around Muslims. I'm sorry, but the Quran instructs Muslims to kill, enslave, or brutally overtax non-Muslims. And talk about bigots. It's the Muslims who are taught from birth to hate Jews and that black people have no souls and are raisin heads. Let's not forget, it was Muslims who declared war on America and the West in 1979. So yes, America will soon protect our borders, and if progressives and Muslims don't like it, too bad. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The Conservative Syndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
All right, hey, we're back. And you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Hour 2, coming to you live coast to coast and around the world. Nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated. We're glad to have you with us today. And, I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Akos. So we were talking earlier, the first hour, whether or not you may not have grasped it completely. Like I said, one thing I have to say about this show and the way we do things, you just have to hang around long enough and all the pieces fall into place. And it's just the way that I think. It's not so much, Joe is more of a direct person. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. I sometimes like to dance around with things for the purpose of being able to come back and hammer you later on down the line here. I remember a gentleman in my church coming up to me one day and saying, the reason I like to listen to you preach is because I never know where you're going to end up at. And he'll say, I'll be thinking you're going this direction. All of a sudden you go another direction. And then all of a sudden, that's where he's going. Yeah, there is a method to my madness. That's why they call me the Mad Prophet. So anyway, Joe had something here that I think will be a good way of breaking into this topic of the globalism versus nationalism in this hour in terms of how the behind-the-scenes activity that goes on from the globalist perspective, establishment globalist, they're synonymous. Although you can say their motives, depending on who they are, can be different, and they can be a combination of several things. But that's what it is. It's a strategy put forward by people that we seldom even know exist or we hear very little about. So you got the con, Joe.
Okay, cool. This is by Liam Deacon, and he's right out of London Breitbart, and it's this has so many tentacles around it. It's pretty crazy when you really think about it. But this is a Soros-linked October surprise that will end Trump, according to them. The campaign to register 8 million global citizens to vote. Yeah, and that should get everybody excited about globalism, right? But what they're really talking about is this group, it's an initiative launched in London, all right, in the United Kingdom. Of course, that London, okay, not the one in Kentucky. On Wednesday by Avaaz, A-V-A-A-Z. And this happens to be a registered U.S. charity and one of the world's largest and most powerful activist groups, which has linked to billionaire globalist George Soros, none other than Georgie. Campaigners toured from the University College in London down to the Parliament, blasting Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA on a double-decker bus while chanting, "Don't vote Trump, vote for Hillary." And what they're trying to do is what they see is 8 million unregistered global citizens, Americans living abroad, that they would like to get registered to vote in the election because they see it as another swing state. Now, you would go, well, they didn't. They said about 88% of the Americans living abroad did not vote in the last presidential election, and they're going, that's a massive untapped voting bloc.
Well, yeah. Well, let's think about that for a minute. First of all, I guess the obvious question is why are these people living abroad in the first place?
Well, probably because, as we've always said, I know I've said it, if you don't like it here, why don't you leave? And they did. And I like that. Go away. Yeah, if you like the way they live in France, go live there in France.
Then the second part of that is, well, if they're living out of the United States because they don't like it here, What makes you think they're going to get up and vote for what's going on over here? I mean, what's the deal? Is it the idea? Well, I know what it is. It's the idea that globalism works.
Well, yes, of course. And then they say here, this is a massive untapped voting bloc. It's much more likely to be, quote unquote, progressive, because 56% of us in the UK have master's degrees. Oh, they're so intellectually superior to everybody else.
Yeah. You got the European social theater over there that is just filled with pseudo intellectuals and pseudo theologians. It's amazing when you talk about things like Christianity over in that theater, over in the European theater. It's completely different than anything you'd ever hear about over here.
So they're saying there's 8 million voters around the world that would make the quote unquote 13th largest state. And so, and they're all screaming, vote for Hillary.
Yeah. Now, the second question is,
why would they do that, huh?
The second question is, why is there such an effort to do that?
Yeah, well, maybe they're actually frightened.
Yeah,
frightened of what you say? What would they be frightened of?
Yeah, I can imagine that. I would imagine, I think for the most part, that Trump probably has, I'm not going to say an impeccable reputation overseas, but certainly the name recognition would be more in tune with his ability to build wealth than it would be his political stances. Obviously, I would think so. But you've got to create the demon. You've got to get over there and say, this guy is just a greedy capitalist, and we socialists over here, we who have more understanding of the humanity of things, as Barack Obama keeps trying to expound upon. And, Hillary Clinton best represents that. But here's my point.
Here's another thing to keep in mind. I want you to understand this now. Now, it is illegal for a registered U.S. charity work for a campaign or a presidential candidate. So,
well, that was my third thought. Is these guys, if they're a charity, they're nonprofit. What are they doing out campaigning?
I mean, they're out there actively going, vote for Hillary, denounce Trump. What's their little sign on the bus goes? United to stop Trump is what their big sign on their double-decker bus says.
Yeah, well, geez, where's all the rancor? Why aren't they? Where's the IRS out there? They want to stop the Tea Party. Why aren't they out there stopping these guys?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Koskinen, but they won't. They think it's just unfair that you try to impeach the guy running the IRS. It's okay to go ahead and go after Tea Party and conservative groups. This group, they would never even go anywhere near. Besides that, they're not in the country. They're over in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, well, maybe the best thing is everybody get an absentee ballot and turn it into the Hillary Clinton for president campaign over there, and they'll fill it out for you. You don't even have to do it for them. We got to go to a quick break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. Okay, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. I'm going to launch in here. We're going to go just a little bit deep here, hopefully, with this discussion that we're having here on globalism versus nationalism. And I'm going to go into an article here written by a guy named Robert Mary. I pulled this article back on May 4th, which that tells you how long ago I wanted to actually talk about this. Where are we at? September here? I was thinking it was just a few weeks. It was actually a few months ago when this first came to my mind here, and I really wanted to breach this topic, but just things didn't happen that way. But the timing is right. Barack Obama's out there defending globalism in front of the UN and the evils of isolationist nationalism, cynicism, and bigotry, and all the things that he's tried to attach to it. And the name of this article was called Trump versus Hillary is Nationalism versus Globalism. All right? I'm going to read just first through three paragraphs here, just so we can get a context of where we're going here with this discussion. He says the pundits and commentators and polls and prognosticators will all identify multifarious political fault lines to explain the looming epic American battle between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Women versus Trump. Evangelicals versus Hillary. Hispanics versus white. Working class Americans with no college. The LBGT community versus traditionalists. Old versus young. It's all important, but not very. Any true understanding of this election requires an appreciation of the one huge political fault line that is driving America into a period of serious political tremors, certain to jolt the political Richter scale. It is nationalist versus globalist. Globalists captured much of American society long ago by capturing the bulk of the nation's elite institutions, The media, academia, big corporations, big finance, Hollywood, think tanks, NGOs, charitable foundations. So powerful are these institutions in themselves, and even more so collectively, that the elites running them thought that their political victories were complete and final. That's why we have witnessed in recent years a quantum expansion of social and political arrogance on the part of these high flyers. Let me translate that. That is why they no longer hide who they are.
Yep.
Okay? What they're saying is they've captured much of what drives America, and in doing so, they now feel ready. Bernie Sanders was the tipping point.
Okay, so I want everybody to get a time frame and context. This was before the conventions.
It was. Right.
Before the primary season was over. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is way before that.
Well, in May, we were still in the throw of the primary season.
Yes, and we didn't have the conventions until July and August.
Right,
okay,
right. We were coming up towards the end. We were more than halfway through the primary season, and the vitriol, at least on the Republican side, was it was peaking. It had peaked, and we had, by this time we'd lost several of the establishment types, and that's what really kind of set this all in motion. This is what he's emphasizing here. The people that everybody thought was going to walk away with this primary. Donald Trump was just going to be that flash in the pan. He was going to be the Ross Perot of 2016, okay? He was going to, some tremors and, bring up some controversies, but we'll put that guy to bed. We'll put him to rest because, as he says here, they thought that they were so solidified in their power and their control, nobody really ever considered the fact that he might actually win.
Yeah, well, the next paragraph. Go with that next paragraph.
Okay, then along comes Donald Trump and upends the whole thing. Just about every major issue that this super-rich political neophyte has thrown at the elites turns out to be anti-globalist and pro-nationalist. And that is the single most significant factor in his unprecedented and totally unanticipated rise. And now he goes on to give some examples, which we'll get into in a moment here. Just to give you comparisons. We're going to give you comparisons between the nationalist mindset and the globalist mindset. And you can fit your favorite globalist or nationalist within either one of these categories. But just review here what he's talking about here. The globalists have been working at this for decades. This has been something since Woodrow Wilson. With Woodrow Wilson, it went into high gear. FDR took it to the next level. Johnson expanded on it. Clinton did a great job of it. And Obama just took it to the hill. Obama, it was kind of like, okay, let's throw as much as we can against the wall and see what happens. And then Bernie Sanders, not Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders brought it out in the open that the Democratic Party is really globalist.
Well, let's understand. Let's just not lay this all at the feet of the Democrats, John. They've had plenty of assistance by those globalist Republicans.
Oh, that's true. But see, up until Barack Obama, and in particular Bernie Sanders coming into the primary this time around,
yes,
the narrative is that the Republicans were the globalists and the Democrats were the nationalists. That was the narrative. That is what they tried to portray. The Democrat was the party of the people. He was the working man's representative.
Yeah.
Okay? And the Republicans, they were those greedy, dirty, racist, bigoted capitalists.
Capitalists, yeah.
And would do anything and step on the backs of anybody to get their money. And it's all about tax breaks for the rich and nothing for the poor and everything. That was the narrative. Bernie Sanders completely exposed that.
Yeah, and why? Hasn't the Clinton Foundation kind of just put that all to bed?
Yeah. So what happened when Bernie Sanders exposed it? They say, oh, well, we can't cover it up anymore. Let's brag about it. Okay? It's become their badge of honor. Yes, we are globalists, and we're proud of it. And now the Republicans, those nasty nationalists, those isolationists, they want to keep America to itself.
Well, that's the Donald Trump Republicans.
Yeah.
The other Republicans that are against Donald Trump, that are on the Hillary Clinton side.
Yeah, but let's remember at this time when this article was written, let's remember what was going on here.
Yes.
The left was talking about how Trump represented what the Republican Party really was. That was a narrative at that time.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it's not that long. Now it's not that at all. Now it's the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are against Trump because Trump is the nationalist. Okay? But see how the narrative changes? At one time, the narrative was the Democrats are the party of the people. Okay? And then and they still want to portray themselves as a party of the people, but only in this vein. The vein is you submit to us and surrender to us all your rights, and we'll take care of you.
Oh, and we're also going to bring in new people that will be so appreciative of us they will vote for us forever and ever.
Yeah,
i.e. Muslim immigrants or i.e. illegal Hispanic immigrants.
We're going to bring in people from banana republics, third world countries, so that they can show you the proper way to assimilate into collectivism.
Yes, exactly, because that's all they know.
Okay, there are guinea pigs. We're gonna bring them over here, and they'll line up to what we want because anything they get here is going to be better than where they came from. Okay, and then we'll just show you Americans, you extremists, you conservatives out there, you isolationists, you nationalists, that will show you how it's supposed to work by bringing in all these other people.
Oh, let's remember too, this is before the Brexit vote as well.
Yeah, you're right. So this whole the concept here, I want to emphasize one more time here. Here's the narrative: the Democrat Party was a party of the people, the Republican Party was a party of greed, and now during the primary, it became Trump was representative. He was the epitome. I read so many articles. The Republican Party created Trump. Okay, and the reason Republican Party created Trump is because they're so damn greedy, and Trump epitomizes greed. He's a businessman. He's a billionaire, for crying out loud, and he's made his money building hotels and buying real estate, all at the expense of cheap labor. Okay, and so he is the ultimate Republican. The problem is the Republicans didn't like him either.
Yeah, exactly, because they've shown for what they truly are.
Yeah, because he was saying, hey, guess what? The people you think are your buddies, they're not. And he could do so because why? I've played a game with these guys for 40 years. I pay these politicians off. I know who they are. I know what jerks their chain. I know what blows their skirt up.
So I love this. It turns out to be anti-globalist, pro-nationalist, pro-populist. Yes, this is Donald Trump.
Yeah,
and these guys can't stand it.
Yeah. So now you would think, okay, well, what's the deal? So these globalists are all upset that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are not doing what they normally do? No, that's not the case. That's not what it is. It's not. They don't care. They don't care if the Democrats were able to pull it off. Great. And how do we know that? How many Republicans are now endorsing Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's not about
Ask yourself that basic question. What would they see in Hillary Clinton as a quote-unquote Republican, as a quote-unquote conservative, as they call themselves, and they're going to endorse Hillary Clinton? Ask yourself that one basic question. If you can answer that one basic question, you know the answer to everything. If you can't, you're a blooping idiot. Okay? There's no other way of putting it. If you can't see the idea here behind globalism, H.W. Bush endorsing Hillary Clinton is perfect example of what we're talking about. The Bushes are the epitome of what a globalist capitalist looks and sounds like.
Yep.
Okay? These people have made their wealth doing what? Coverting third world companies, using oil companies as a front. CIA. That's where George Bush cut his teeth. That's where he earned his bones. That's where he's made his money. Okay? Now, just his sons have just duplicated the process. Just didn't look very intelligent sometimes doing it, but they were doing the same thing. And all this comes down to what? And now it's globalism versus nationalism, and the globalists have been exposed.
Well, I think the globalists have overplayed their cards, and so people caught on. And as was seen in the Brexit vote, and seen in just the recent election in Germany where Merkel lost,
and so my point is simply this: my point is, globalists do not ascertain to any ideology other than the one that works for them.
Yes, exactly. They only work for themselves, not the people.
Right. And if the Democrats can do it, if Hillary Clinton can keep them, preserve their place and power and money, then so be it. If anybody else, if it had been Jeb Bush or anybody else, it doesn't matter who's in the White House as long as it serves their purpose. So ideology is out the window. Never listen to another Republican and have him or her try to convince you that they're one, Republican, two, they're conservative. They're neither. They are globalists, period. Yep. And they are anti-nationalists. They don't care if we sell our borders. They don't care as long as they make money doing it. We'll be right back, guys. We got to go to a break.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you, and they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Am I not speaking English?
TheConservativeSyndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. We're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Getting back to our conversation here on globalism versus nationalism, and I'm using an article written back in May by Robert W. Mary at the National Interest, and we talked about how the globalists, how they came to be, how they came into power. I believe that Woodrow Wilson was the beginning of a real move into the globalist mentality that we have today, and it just certain presidents didn't do a whole lot with it. Some of them did a lot with it.
Well, gee, John, he only wanted the League of Nations to become an entity.
I'm sorry?
He only wanted the League of Nations to become an entity.
Yeah, that was the beginning of it.
Killed him.
Yeah, and from there we now have the United Nations. But as I said, there were some people that were able to kind of make the leaps and bounds. You take somebody like FDR with the New Deal. Okay, he was leaps and bounds towards progressivism, Keynesian economics, the whole nine yards. Lyndon Johnson expanded on that through the healthcare industry. He was the one that laid the framework for what we now have as Obamacare, and that is the gradual nationalization of the health industry through the government.
That's all the social programs that you put in place.
Yeah. And then we had Jimmy Carter with the Reinvestment Redevelopment Act, which brought about was actually a capitalist venture in terms of what it was designed. Well, he was doing it for quote unquote the humanitarian reason or the globalist reason, but the capitalists that were involved in it, people like Bill Clinton, really went haywire with it.
That's the reason why you should be wary of Republicans doing progressive things, because yes, it might be a progressive thing on the good side, but as soon as a Democrat gets in power, then they're going to expand it and mutate it into something huge and ugly.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, that one of my questions that has been answered. I've asked this question many times. Okay. Why do a news network like Fox News, have on their shows people that do not represent the conservative side of things? Why is Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Alexander Lamar, why are these people the first people Fox News goes to whenever they want to get a conservative view on something? Well, it's because Fox News is part of the mechanism.
Thank you.
Okay? People they think, well, they're fair and balanced. We report, you decide. Baloney.
And people are deciding, too. They're losing ratings.
Yeah. And I can tell you right now, here's the narrative. The left is out there. They're making a big deal about the fact that Roger Ayers, who had to resign, by the way, for sexual harassment over at Fox News, they're making a big deal about the fact that he's supposed to be coaching Donald Trump for the debates. That's I don't know if it's true or not. I know it's been floating out there and everything else. So you would think, well, Roger Ayers is a mechanism of the globalist establishment. Why would he do something like that? Why wouldn't he do something like that? If you can become buddies with the guy that's rocking your boat, now why not?
Yeah, he might not rock it so hard that you fall out.
Oh, Ayers might be the smartest guy in the bunch, saying, hey, I'm going to make friends with the guy that's going to tank me. This guy's going to take me down. He's going to take what we believe in down. I better become his best friend. I'm not. I'm just saying. I don't know. But I don't think Roger Ayers is a diehard conservative. Why would he keep Megyn Kelly on the air, for crying out loud?
Well, he doesn't have to worry about her now.
Yeah. Okay. So and then you lose somebody like Greta Van Susteren. You keep Megyn Kelly. What a trade-off there, huh? Anyway. So we're talking about these differences here. And we talked about the globalism. Let's compare. I was thinking of this analogy. Let's compare something here.
Okay.
Dwight Eisenhower warned after World War II against the industrial military complex.
Yes, he did.
Okay, he warned. He said if we start this can be a bad thing. That this could go in the wrong direction.
He wasn't alone. Churchill did the same thing.
Yeah, they were very wary of the industrial military complex.
Well, they saw the build up through World War II. They saw what it had to do, but they understood that it could become a very, very bad thing.
Okay, so the industrial military complex, I think, would be very representative of the Republican globalists.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
Okay, and getting into the division of how they look at things, okay? Let me get into this, move into this, the comparisons here, okay? And you'll understand what I'm going to go out of order here. You're looking at the article, Joe. I want to go to foreign policy first because I can use it to just build on what I just said about Eisenhower. Okay?
I'm good.
Foreign policy. Globalists are motivated by humanitarian impulses. For them, the rights and well-being of the world's people supersede the rights and well-being of American populace. Now, that is, in and of itself, the narrative, but it is not the truth. Okay, this is the narrative. This is the means to an end. Everything we're doing is in the interest of humanity on a global scale.
Well, they do this that's our immigration policy. I can tell you that. It is definitely our immigration policy. Right. The needs of the immigrant come before the citizen.
Right. So, but I'm driving home here the thought process. We want to get that first before we actually apply it.
Okay.
Now, so the globalists he's referring to here the liberal globalists. See, there's a difference between the liberal globalist and the Republican globalist. And that's what I'm trying to draw the distinction here. Gotcha. The liberal globalist is motivated by humanitarian impulses. The rights and well-being of the world's people supersede the rights and well-being of the American populace. Now, that, as I said, that's the narrative, but that is not the truth. They don't give a rat's ass about the American populace or the world's people's rights and well-being. It's all about getting everybody into the collective mindset. If you're an American, you sacrifice your American exceptionalism for the well-being of the rest of the world who just isn't as fortunate as we are.
Yeah,
okay?
they're just using people, period.
Right, that's it, okay? And so the foreign policy guidance, and Barack Obama is the perfect example of this, as Robert Kaplan says, it leads to pacifist strain when it comes to defending our hardcore national interests, and an aggressive strain when it comes to defending human rights.
Yes.
Okay, now we go to Joe's statement earlier about immigration. All right, what's at the heart of the globalist, the liberal globalist? These immigrants are leaving their country because they're war-torn, the political chaos, the economy is bad, the health conditions are bad, everything is just, up and up, and there's chaos and poverty and misery everywhere, and so we have to do something about that. Now, if that means, when it comes to somebody like ISIS, who's out there using that very thing to subject and oppress their people, what do we have to do? We got to play down that. Well, we got to make friends with the people that will cut your head off. We have to make friends with the terrorists. We don't have to exterminate them because they are a product of the very environment that we're talking about. They wouldn't be terrorists if their economy was better and the living conditions were better and everything else.
Yes, we must feel their pain. If it wasn't so damn hot in the Middle East, they wouldn't be so mad.
Yeah, and if we just had a few job fairs over there for them, everything would straighten itself out. It's just those extremist elements, the mentally unstable that just want to go out and kill people because it's fun or whatever. Okay, it's not Islamic radicalism. It's not a perverted theology or ideology or anything else. It's
weather that's causing them to use chemical weapons.
It's global warming that's causing the problem. Okay, so we have to do something about that, and that means anything but stopping the terrorism. Okay, we'll stop the terrorism through diplomacy. That's Barack Obama in front of the UN touting his Iran deal like it's the greatest thing in the world. We stop nuclear proliferation.
Proliferation,
okay.
As they make nuclear weapons, as they go against UN sanctions by testing intercontinental ballistic missiles or medium range ballistic missiles. Yes, right. Against UN resolutions, mind you.
Okay, now globalists, the Republican side of this. I'm making a distinction here between liberals and Republican, not liberal and conservative, liberal and Republican. Okay, yes. There's a difference there. Globalists, the Republican globalists, in advocating foreign policy adventurism, they're quick to conflate events that are going on over in other countries. Why? Because they try to turn those things into national interest, national security interest for us, and therefore we have to do what? We have to engage the industrial military complex.
Yes, we must send our military over there to...
Yeah, which, by the way, we have invested millions and millions and billions of dollars into, and we need a return on our investment. Okay?
How dare you do that when someone that the neophyte says that we should have kept the oil, they condemn him for it.
Yeah, so the liberals are going to save the world from violence, and the Republicans are going to use violence to make money. Okay, there's your difference. Now, where does the common ground come from? The common ground is the nationalists like us who says we don't want to do either of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, because the nationalist looks at foreign policy and says we don't want to stick our nose in everybody's business. We don't want to be sending people over there to die for something that we ourselves think that they should be taking care of themselves. People tell me, I've asked the question time and time again, how is it that a third world country allows itself to be subjected to a tyrant or a dictator? Well, okay, so they're beaten into submission. But boy, you would think, I don't know, you would think human instinct would take over. If somebody's going to hit you, you're going to defend yourself. If you're just going to stand there and say, take it, I'll do whatever you want, don't hit me, I'll do whatever you want, well, you deserve to get hit.
Well, eventually you have to get to a position of advantage.
Yeah.
So if you're at the disadvantage, you're not going to hit back.
Yeah, well, here's the point. The American Revolution, there was there was never a more disadvantaged group of people than the American Revolution. And it didn't stop them.
American special right there.
Yeah, okay, so there it is. That's just a distinction here, just as to how they think differently. But they do have the common enemy of people like us, the nationalists, or somebody like Donald Trump who says, we got to quit doing this stuff. Yeah. We got to quit engaging the industrial military complex because people die. And people are dying over lost causes. Okay, and things that we don't even need to be injecting ourselves into. The other side of it is, let's bring everybody over here to America. And we'll just get all you nationalists to pay the bill. All right, that's how that works. We got to go to a quick break. We'll be right back. I hope this is making sense. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The ConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Am I not speaking English?
The Conservative Syndicate.net, where we speak only one language, American. All right, hey, we're back. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. I want to get right back into this discussion here while everything is fresh in my head. One more mention here. We're talking about this the difference of thinking between the liberal and the Republican globalists compared to the nationalist. The nationalist is an enemy to both. Okay, and the Republicans will try to play up. The Republicans will try to tell you that they're like you, but they're really not. Whereas the Democrats will tell you they're nothing like you. Okay, at least the Democrats are more honest about who they are. Okay, the Republicans will try to tell you, yeah, I'm your bud. Yeah, we're thinking along the same thing. By the way, send me some money, huh? The Democrats are out there going, no, we're going to figure out how to take your money. We don't care if you keep it right now. We're going to figure out how to take it away from you. And we're going to figure out how to give it to somebody else we feel is less fortunate than you. Because you really don't deserve it. You don't deserve all the prosperity that America has because it's been at the expense of the rest of the world. That kind of thing. That there's the different mindsets. But tying it back to immigration just for a minute, because that is, I think, the issue right now. I think Brexit proved that immigration is the issue. And if Donald Trump wins this election, it's going to be about immigration. No doubt in my mind about it. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. Immigration and this migration, and absolutely. How many other people in the national scene have you say the words safe haven?
Yeah.
Haven in their own land. Nobody. Donald Trump is the only one out there that has said anything like that on the national stage. These people should have a safe haven in their own region so they don't have to worry about assimilating to another culture and having somebody in their region pay for it. Yes, exactly. Immigration and migration are basically linked together. And so they definitely it is the issue. It's the issue that brought Trump to the nomination, and hopefully it's the issue that brings him over top of Hillary Clinton so we can send her packing and so we never have to hear about the Clintons ever again. The Clinton and Trump is going to do it. The other thing Trump's going to do if he does take the White House, we're not going to hear about the Clintons anymore, and we're unless we hear about them going to jail for Clinton Foundation, and we're not going to hear about the Bushes anymore.
Yeah. I think if Clinton wins the White House, we'll probably have to deal with Obama here a little bit longer before he heads up to the UN. If Trump wins, I bet he makes immediate exodus to the UN. Hey, you guys got to elect me because this is what we got to deal with now. But you said the key word in your statement right there, Joe, was the word assimilation. There it is. That is when you hear the talk of borders from a liberal globalist. That is what they're talking about. They're not talking about physical borders. What they're talking about is the influx of immigrants, because isn't that the liberal argument? We're all immigrants.
Yeah,
we're all descendants of immigrants, or we're all immigrants.
But it's found out in Europe, this migration of these Muslim migrants, these people are not assimilating. They want their own little enclaves and are telling police, you can't come in here, no-go zones, etc. This is not about migration or immigration. It's not the same. This is no assimilation. They want their own little pieces of the world. They want to make where they go to be like the place they left.
Yeah, they want to do like what we see out here in California. Down here where I live, down Southern California, we have Little China, Little Tokyo, Little Saigon, Little India. Now, we've got certain parts of our communities out here that are basically highly influenced by a particular culture of the people that live there. And I'm okay with that. I don't really care because they don't try to go beyond their borders and make everybody, simulate to their way of doing things. Although I'll tell you one thing, down in Artesia down here, I'm really pissed off right now. They took a 4-lane street, one of the main drags down here called Pioneer Boulevard. They took a 4-lane street and they turned it into a 2-lane street. And in the middle, actually, I think it was a 5-lane street. Turned it into a 2-lane street. And in a certain section of the town, they put a cement island in the middle of the street that has absolutely nothing on it, and it expands more than twice the width of the rest of the streets put together. It's like this big island out in the middle of the street with 1 lane on each side of it. And you know why they did it? Because they changed the crosswalks so that people don't have to walk. You know how you walk a crosswalk perpendicular?
Yeah.
In Little India down here, you walk diagonally.
What, a diagonal? I've seen that before.
Okay, and the reason they do that, they want to control the traffic so that people don't get wiped out walking across the... Okay, now, that is a cultural thing, but I tell you, it pisses off every American that drives down that street. Okay, because it's like... What a ridiculous waste of land and money. Somebody in the city council in Artesia decided to do that.
Well, I mean, vote them out. I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah. So they took a major throughway. Pioneer is a busy street. It goes through 4 or 5 different towns, and they took that and just completely bastardized it. But I'm digressing here. I want to get back to the immigration thing here. Here's the deal. Nationalists like us believe that the true nation must have clearly delineated and protected borders, otherwise it's not really a nation. Now, it's been reduced, the argument has been reduced down to building a wall. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the fact that if you are going to come into the United States of America, you need to assimilate into America as an American.
Yeah, it needs to benefit them. It needs to benefit our American nation. Not you, the immigrant. It must benefit America first.
And a liberal globalist wants us to assimilate into their cultures so that they feel more accepted.
Well, they're doing that over in Europe now. They want, those people, they don't like the way the European women are dressing. So don't you dress so provocatively, you European women. You must kowtow to their wants and needs. No. That's not how it works. You're a guest. You came over to our country. You assimilate to us.
Yeah, well, the hell with Europe. They're doing it over here.
I understand. But I was just giving an example. That's my point.
What is it? I Dearborn, Michigan. I understand that is like Iran.
Well, it's Dearbornistan.
Yeah, it's like, and this whole idea of, I've talked about running for office out here in my neck of the woods here. You have to pay $5,000 to have your information translated into 6 different languages.
No, if they can't read English, then they don't deserve
they shouldn't be voting if they can't read English, for crying out loud. But that's the globalist thing. We want to be more acceptable, and therefore we must give up our Americanism and assimilate into these cultures. We need to be more tolerant of these cultures and their beliefs and their system of doing things rather than them coming into our country because they need to escape what it is they're doing. And they want to come into our country, and we're supposed to change into what they are. Where's the logic in that?
There is no logic in that. If you make this place like the place they left, then we become the place they left.
Yeah, So what is it? You simply want to just change the location and do the same thing? That doesn't work because it can't work.
No, it won't work. And you left that place because it sucked, okay?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Anyway,
John, we're at the end of the show, buddy.
Yeah, we're at the end of the show, but we're going to continue this tomorrow. I've got some more comparisons here. I hope you're putting the pieces together as to what the difference between a globalist and a nationalist, and there are differences between liberal globalists and Republican globalists. And we are the bad guys because we want to save America. We want to keep America, America. We want to, in the words of Barack Obama, save it from outside contamination. All right, rightfully so. I admit to it, and I'm doing everything I can. Joe is too. That's what we do in this show. We thank you guys for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, 3 o'clock out here in the West Coast, 6 o'clock in the East Coast. We love you. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.